Morning. Is that loud? Cool. Yeah, perfect. My name is Sergeant Levi Lister, and I've gone to church here since it existed. Was anybody at the K-State game yesterday? I know you probably don't want to admit it, but they were. Well, if you watched the national anthem, there was a couple helicopters flew over. I think that was the highlight of the game. I was in one of those, so it was for you, Chris. I waved at Chris. I don't know if you saw me. Anyways, so I've deployed 3 times overseas with a medevac unit, just like the ones we just watched in that video, as a crew chief. I'll get to more of that in a minute. Today I'm here to talk to you about Jesus and what he's done in my life, primarily over the last 12 years. I've given my testimony before, but it's been forever ago. It's kind of funny Ron mentioned the Bonanza building and that song, because I'm pretty sure that's the last time I've been up here. I always hear him asking for people to testify, and everyone should have a story. I've always felt a little guilty knowing I probably could have a better story if I would get rid of a lot of the junk in my life that I let stand between me and the Lord. Part of that's true, but it doesn't mean that he's not still working in me and that I don't have anything to say. That's a lie from the enemy. And I would encourage everyone to think about what they could share to help others. I was born in 1981 in Iowa, and around the age of 4, I was listening to a Christian radio program called Adventures in Odyssey by Focus on the Family. Some of you may have heard it. I felt the pull of the Holy Spirit at the ripe old age of 4, and I asked my mom to pray with me. By the way, that's a shameless plug for Christian radio, and I have another one of those in here too. Ever since that point, I've always known that I've been saved by the blood of Christ on the cross. Unfortunately, I haven't always lived on that promise, and I don't need to sit up here and list everything that I've done and even continue to struggle with, but I will just say that I can testify to his unlimited grace as well as his justice. There are consequences for sin, and that's why he hates it. Just like it's no fun spanking your own child. Actually, sometimes it's kind of fun, but most of the time we don't like to see our children suffer. And neither does God, so that's why he hates sin. He loves us, and he wants so much more for us than this world has to offer. My first deployment was in 2010 and 11 to Iraq. My second was in 12 and 13 to Afghanistan, and the latest one was 2017 at a special operations outpost on the border of Iraq, Jordan, and Syria. I've been shot at with bullets, RPGs, improvised artillery rounds. One base I was at, they even filled a water heater full of like TNT and strapped a bunch of rocket motors and tried to shoot it over the wall. It didn't work too good. I went down in Iraq with a patient on board. We blew an engine. I was on the ground for about 4 hours before we got picked up. I've missed irreplaceable time with my wonderful wife and sons. I had children as young as 10 months on board my aircraft, as well as combat wounded allies in the U.S. in all kinds of different shape. When you look down and see wedding rings and stuff on people, it motivates you and makes you miss your family back home. Every step, every flight hour, every mission I've never doubted the Lord's presence and overwatch over me. It's a tremendously peaceful feeling knowing my life is in his hands no matter what happens on earth. One of the things I love most about my job is the parallel I can draw between my duties as a medevac crew chief and my duties as a Christian. How many times in that clip did we hear them talking about saving lives? How much more important is it to save souls? It's been super convicting to me that I'm willing to run out on a moment's notice, jump on a helicopter, fly in some really bad places to save someone that I'll never see again, but can't muster the courage to live my faith in front of my family and friends. If we view ourselves as soldiers in a spiritual battle, which the Bible talks about a lot on this earth, I can say right now that there'd be no greater feeling than at the end of my life to not even be able to count on my fingers and toes how many souls I witnessed to. In order for that to be the case, it takes training, the same training, dedication, and sacrifice of any military mission. Out of my over 1,100 hours in a Black Hawk, 350 of those are combat hours. 12 years of service, 3 of those years have spent overseas. The point is, the amount of training necessary to be a proficient soldier is exceeding compared to the actual time performing the missions. This has prompted me to spend time in the Word, spend time listening to Christian radio. There it is again. Spend time in prayer and with fellow Christians in hopes of being a better soldier for Christ. So the one about spending time with fellow Christians, church is a good way to do that, but Pastor Ron's always mentioning all the other programs, which I've failed to take advantage of as much as I should have, and would encourage everybody to look into those too. Billy Graham said if he could do it over again, he would talk less and study more. And that's a pretty powerful statement coming from a guy who probably saved more people outside of the Apostle Paul and Jesus. But it spoke to me saying, my goal is accountability, spiritual training, and proficient performance on the spiritual battlefield of life, and I hope to see you alongside me. I'd like to give a special thanks to my wife, Kelly, and my boys, Joey and Kane, and my stepson, Keaton, for putting up with a lot of absence and uncertainty, which I just signed up for another 6 years, so that's not going away anytime soon. It takes a good support structure to be found, or to be focused on the physical and spiritual battlefields, and that's a challenge for everyone. Thank you.